welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's episode was recorded on November the 23rd, 2021. I'm your host, gaming psychologist, and with me, as always, my co-pilot,
Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, we will of course discuss the games that we have played. Phil Spencer says some NFT games feel, quote, more exploitative than about entertainment. Warner Bros. Crossover Fighter Multiverse is officially announced. Rockstar Games apologizes for the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy launch. We're going to discuss the Golden Joystick Awards. In our community corner, Streamlabs drops OBS from the company name in response to a recent controversy. And if time allows, or our awakeness and attention span, we will have a Steam Discovery queue. Timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics. Hello, Rage.
Hello.
How are you?
Caffeinated.
Yep, I'm getting there. I'm about 12 ounces into my 32-ounce coffee mug.
See, I need to send you a bucket pot.
You could. You should. I've got a large box that just seems to be getting larger with all the things that I've needed to send you for months. Oh. Eventually, I'll send it, and you'll get a bunch of things.
Yeah, I got the air fryer. Got a book for you. May have bought you another book.
Thanks.
I won't tell you what it is, but when you get the box, I want you to call me.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Are there butts inside?
No. Well, maybe.
Sweet.
Or maybe not.
Maybe is good enough. I'm in. Anyways.
There might be some butts involved. Well, we'll see, right? So if you can't tell, I'm feeling a lot better this week.
You are feeling a lot better this week, and I'm...
Yeah, last week, I was pretty much just doped up with painkillers because it seems like anytime I have a cold, the tail end of it is just a massive sinus headache for several days, and that was, in the middle of the last recording.
Right. So, not fun times.
Yeah. And the thing is, I felt bad for like 2 days, and then, sinus headaches for a week.
Right.
Because of course. So, games we played, or do you want to...
Sure. I don't know if I don't know what to say. Like, I feel fine. I don't really have any, weird stuff to talk about that wasn't already discussed in the Franken content. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I'm sick, I'm not in the mood to play anything terribly complex, which may or may not impact when we record the game club. We'll see about that one. Because, also holidays and everything else. So, one game I haven't talked about that we can't talk about yet, I spent a lot of time on, and the other one is Animal Crossing, which honestly I've been playing it pretty regularly since the beginning of this year, but also the DLC for Happy Home Paradise. Now, just before the DLC launched, they launched a absolutely massive, essentially mini free expansion as well. The 2.0 update, which was essentially a year's worth of updates that they didn't really get to put out because of COVID.
Right.
They never outright said that was due to COVID. However, there was a lot of these half-finished systems that people data mined to the game that was never implemented. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, there's this new marketplace that is opened up in this one area. There's a new expansion to the museum. Yeah, it's like all these individual updates that would have happened throughout the year, all in like one massive thing. There's farming that's been implemented along with cooking, right? And it's just a ton of different stuff, and it's kind of overwhelming just to figure out where you want to go with it, because it's a lot of essentially daily. I hate to use the term chore for this, but it's kind of fits as well, and it's has sort of a mini Stardew Valley feel to it, where you're going to, tend the fields, right?
Yeah. I was gonna ask actually, like, how does it feel, Stardew-esque versus like Facebook-esque versus I don't know, something else.
I would say technically somewhere in between because it's not a hugely deep system. I mean, if you look at it as game mechanics wise, it's not a very deep system. It's plant starter or plant seeds essentially, either starters for the plants or the end results like planting unmilled wheat will give you a new starter of wheat, and then if you water it, depending on how many days you water it in that growing cycle of 4 days, it gives you more yield at the end. So, eventually, if you water enough, you can fill up an area just with recycling your crops before dealing with cooking, which honestly is a kind of it's ties more into terraforming and restructuring your island than anything else, because the way that you move stuff around, you have to get energy. If you want to move something large like a tree or break boulders that you mine every day to have them respawn in a different place, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. In order to do that, you have to have energy, which you could just eat raw fruit. Or if you cook something, instead of getting like 1 or 2 energy, you'll get like 3, 4, 5 energies. But you can also use them as gift items, which gives more friendship points to that villager. So it's one of those systems that technically you don't need to use it, but there's a benefit of making things easier if you do, right?
Yeah.
They added a coffee bar, a cafe, called The Roost, which is a reoccurring thing from previous Animal Crossings, where you could occasionally run into characters that are kind of off-duty. You'll run into characters from the older games that don't really have a role to play in this game. You'll sometimes run into someone that just finished up what they're doing. You could run into villagers. You could actually run into villagers that's left your island, because there's a system where you can only have 10 villagers on your island at a time, and eventually somebody will ask, hey, I'm thinking about moving, what do you think? And you always have like the final say. It's not like the past games where suddenly your best friend just suddenly moved away without any word, right?
Yeah.
But they can sometimes show up, and if you have the amiibos, the amiibo cards for them, you could actually call them on the phone and invite them over, which is kind of neat.
That is cute.
I mean, it is tied into a paid thing, right?
I was going to say, it's tied into the amiibos, which kind of sucks.
Unless you sail the 7 seas, yarg.
Yarg.
Yeah, which I definitely do not have a bunch of NFC coins sitting on my desk right now. Totally don't.
Yep. Nope. Don't. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do such a thing.
No, definitely not.
No.
Let's see. They reintroduced Captain from the previous games that take you on mystery tours to different islands for resources, and it could also be a different time of the year on these islands. So think of the 4 seasons as like your overarching biomes for collectibles.
Yeah,
and he could take you to an island where it's suddenly spring, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, right now it's autumn. So you could get resources that you normally couldn't get unless you go to an island in the southern hemisphere to be able to craft different things or get recipes that you otherwise couldn't get. And it's the same for the other seasons. I mean, right now there's not another hemisphere that has winter right now yet, right?
Yeah.
But if you get a winter island, you can get resources that's unique to winter or summer. There's islands that have crops on them that you could collect to take back home. There's ones with rare plants that you could get. There's different ones with different rare resources that you could get. And it's another one of those daily things that you could do.
Yeah. That's very cool, actually. I like that. The different seasons.
Mhm.
Because when the last time that I played, I mean, it's been a long time, but the last time that I played, it's like, okay, the seasons are nice, but if I miss something, like, I don't know if I'll be playing this game again in a year. So
I
being
mean,
able to get access to those things.
technically, the game doesn't tie you down to real world time. If you want, you could turn the clock back on the Switch. And there's nothing that really prevents you from doing it. Outside of some upcoming holidays are time locked to a minor patch from Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. So, like, whenever they update, like, if they do an update for Christmas, for example, since Thanksgiving's too close, if they do an update for Christmas, they might time lock that so nobody can access it until, like, the 20th.
Yeah.
When they would release a small patch. But outside of that, you just essentially time travel to whenever you want to get resources if you really cared about it. But honestly, it's one of those games where it's kind of a ritual of, play it for half an hour or so, grab some resources while you're at it. If you really want to get a little crazy, focus on getting particular things like getting fish, bugs, that sort of thing to fill out the museum. Which that's something else is that if you complete a wing of the museum, they give you now a poster that you can hang up in your house that shows all the exhibits from that section.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is there? And really just a bunch of new stuff, more recipes, that sort of thing. And then there's the DLC. And the DLC is a bit of a different take on things. So, Happy Home Paradise, it's essentially, you get pimped out to this other organization. Like, hey, this guy's done really good at designing things around here. He should go design vacation homes, right?
Okay.
And you get essentially voluntold to go join this other group, assuming you get the DLC, of course. To join this other group that designs and builds vacation homes for different people. And it's really a way to interact with a lot more of the cast of Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing, the villager list is massive. It's almost 500 different characters before you get to like special characters and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And while a lot of them are kind of interchangeable, they're all still unique as well. Where, you'll have, the overarching personalities, kind of act the same. But then you might, kind of fall in love with a particular character. Like the big darling for this version has been Raymond, for example, which is kind of a snooty cat in a suit, right? That everybody seemed to love.
Yeah.
Well, because you're only limited to 10 villagers, you rarely rotate out characters because you don't want to, you want to build up the relationships, so, right?
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of characters. Well, in this, you see so many more. It's actually quite surprising just the amount of characters they throw together. So, you get contracted to design vacation homes, and you're told essentially a general theme that the character wants, and a handful of items that they must have in this plot of land. And then you're just told to essentially go to town. And it's building... It's kind of what I liked from doing in The Sims, of just building homes and building designs. Essentially architecture. And as you progress through the DLC, which you do so by building more and more homes, there's 40-some different types of plots, but you could essentially stack characters on the same plot of the plot of land, but it's kind of a timeshare, but kind of not, where it's the same layout, but it treats it like a completely different instance of the area. And it's kind of relaxing of just sitting there and doing your thing, building up this, one character wants to have, essentially a fairground. So, you build a fair around their house and like an arcade in their home. Another one wants underwater paradise. So, you build up this beach form and in their house. It looks like they're under the water, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of detached from the main game in that it's its own archipelago, but also it has its own focus of game mechanics where a lot of the base game of Animal Crossing is about collecting stuff. It's that OCD of collectathon. Get all the bugs, get all the pieces of art, get the different types of furniture, that sort of thing. Well, this, you're not tied down to having to build everything. You're not tied down to having to buy everything. As you progress through essentially the story, as it were, because, you're kind of contracted out to this design group that also is building up this main island to be like a small town as well, building up a cafe, a school, a restaurant, eventually a hospital, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
As you build this up, you get to know this small cast of co-workers. You have the gentle giant Wallace. Then you have Lois, I think she's some sort of, she's an otter, I think. And you have Nico, the little spider monkey, who's very energetic and go-getting, and and you get to know these characters. And it's very sweet and supportive, all three of them, to each other and to you. And as you progress, you also get this new currency, Pokey, that you get to spend in the shop there, but also as you unlock more things through the campaign, you can buy them directly from the shop as well. And it has an amazing amount of stuff in it. If you get deep into designing things, it is just kind of a nice, kind of kick your feet up, drink some tea, and just, build a house that's on fire, right?
Right.
And no, I'm not joking. That's one of the themes that one of my one of them wanted was essentially a house that was full of fire and flames and smoke, and it was just hilarious because it unlocks like all these flamethrower pyrotechnic things.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as you progress through each house, you also unlock more stuff permanently. So then you can go back to the other ones if you want to remodel. And then you could also eventually have roommates and work with their shared interests. And there's also some sort of VIP mechanic that I haven't unlocked just yet. And it is actually a long DLC. I thought it was going to be, one of these, kind of one and done. Yeah. Okay, well, how many times can I actually design something and be done with it? But the themes actually throw a lot of interesting mechanics into things. Where, you unlock, well, that's a kind of a neat, doodad. What can I do with that, right?
Yeah. And
you
also a good theming, a good tool set.
Yeah.
Its mechanics are done really well, so it doesn't kind of overstay its welcome.
Yeah, and they also start to introduce more and more mechanics. Like Nico, after discovering that you are some sort of DIY master because of the base game, right?
Yeah.
He's starting to tinker with stuff as well, and you put materials in his DIY box. So after work, he goes in there and starts building things, and he's unlocking more and more recipes for you to that he shares with you to be able to use in your designs. You have more like pillars that you could use in the houses, tables, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they also introduced a few other mechanics like partitions that weren't in the base game, where you could essentially build or cordon a room off into smaller sections. Along with load partitions, where it's kind of just like building up a bar or something like that.
Yeah.
The pillars I mentioned, and they also don't laugh. They have a polishing mechanic.
That's really cool, though.
Where you could polish things and put different effects on them.
Yeah.
As well as taking custom textures that you get either design yourself or download from the internet from the absolutely massive, but also sometimes hard to navigate custom design portal in the game.
Yeah, I feel like that checks out, though.
Yeah. And put different effects on things. So, I've seen some absolutely amazing things. Like somebody built a Harry Potter themed house, and they took the polishing effect and put the flying keys from the book in it. So it was actually quite striking, just how much you could do.
Yeah.
And honestly, far more creative than I feel like I ever would be.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the ability to go in and look at other people's stuff and that sort of thing. And it's a lot deeper than what I thought it would be. I kind of got it on a lark as, this will be an interesting thing to dabble with as I play the main game. But honestly, I've spent more time with the DLC than I have the main game lately. Which is saying something, right?
Yeah, because you like it. You like the base game a lot, so...
Well, like I said, it's kind of a ritual of, get up and play that for a bit, as kind of a wake up and, wake up, drink some coffee, toy around with some Animal Crossing, see who's on the island, what the hell's going on.
Right. It's a good way for you to start your day.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been my game, and I've been talking for about half an hour. So, yeah.
A little bit, but yeah, glad you like it. Okay. I did an impulse buy after watching my YouTuber play this game a bit. It's called Sprocket. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's also not... Like it's still relatively early in its development. So Sprocket is a tank design game where you can click and drag and morph things around, and it's divided into eras, but it's essentially you're designing a tank to complete a challenge. I mean, there's a free design mode where that you can, just go and mess around. But otherwise, there are eras like World War One. There's a couple of World War II scenarios. And you go and you design a tank to complete whatever the scenario is, and you can design, real world tanks. You can design like some really weird stuff. And it all handles pretty well. The basic mechanics are there for a game. Like, there's physics. You have to design tanks that conform to at least like a certain basic set of rules. Like I'll talk about some of the weird stuff you can make that the game gives you a pass on in a little bit. But take the World War One, challenge for example. So what you're doing is you design a tank to charge across no man's land and destroy some artillery pieces before you get killed. And based on your tank design, you get a certain number of AI buddies to help you out. And if you pick like a small, cheap tank, you get a bunch of AI buddies. And if you make a tank that's like really big and expensive, then you don't get as many ally friends to help you out. And it lets you use real world designs from the era so that you have either a starting point or a testing spot to get used to the game. And it just drops you in a designer otherwise with like no information other than like what you see in a few graphs. So you've got two bars, so, the external size of your tank, and its internal space. So weight, armor, guns, ammo, fuel, internal and external, little things that might help your crew out in a situation, like extra tracks or, tools to unstuck your tank, like all kinds of stuff you can put on as sort of decoration. Some of it's functional, not all of it is. But you just essentially have to play with all of these meters and sliders and stick on parts to build a tank. You have crew that you have to assign, and it just, it lacks serious tooltips. And so you just have to mess around with it and create a bunch of tanks that ultimately fail because the game doesn't tell you exactly what you need to do differently. It'll tell you, like, failed whatever, like, no space for crew. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, according to the graph, I've got enough internal space for all of my crew to fit. I have them assigned to their position.
You need a seat.
And it's like, well, it's like you designate a spot on the tank, and it puts like a little dot there for like where they're driving. And it's like, maybe you misclicked and the little dot is actually outside the tank. And it's like, there's no space for your crew in the tank because you designated their seat outside the tank. It's like, well, shit. That shouldn't work. Like, it's like, one, it feels like the game shouldn't allow you to do that. And two, it should be able, like, I feel like this type of game should be sophisticated enough to tell you, like, exactly what the thing is that you've done wrong. It doesn't tell you. So designing a gun turret is the most frustrating experience in this entire game because you have to design a gun turret that's balanced properly for the tank design that you've made, which you might think, okay, well, that makes sense. I need to have a balanced gun so it can turn and swivel and rotate and adjust, its pitch so that you can shoot, straight or in an arc or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But different tank designs require different gun balances. So even though, like, you might design a gun that's perfectly balanced, if you put it in the wrong hull design or the wrong turret shape, then it still doesn't work. And so I never really figured out how to design my own tank gun because what would happen is that the barrel would droop, which, haha, sounds like a personal problem there. Barrel's drooping. But anyways, the barrel would like just very slowly like make its way to to pointing at the earth, and I couldn't quite figure out why. And you have to also, beyond just designing the basic shape for some of these things and attaching parts to them, some things have additional modifiers, like your tank's engine compartment. You have different engines that you can put in there, different size engines and types, and you can make them, have more horsepower or give them different gear ratios and things. And you're balancing it against how much fuel you have and how much ammo you can carry and all good stuff for like a tank, for like a design game that's trying to be sort of at least somewhat sim-ish. They're all good things, but it's menus within menus within menus. And it's not very easily navigable. And there's very minimal tooltips, which I've already mentioned, and very minimal in the way that it gives you in terms of like help to figure out when you're doing something wrong. The design stuff at the very least is pretty straightforward. Like, messing around with it didn't feel like it wasn't a chore. For the most part, it's just drag and drop. So if you want to change the shape of your hull, you move your mouse cursor over until it, you select the panel that you want, or the, maybe a corner or something like that, and it'll highlight it, and you just click, and then you drag, and you can make it whatever shape you want, sort of within reason, but it definitely lets you make some impossible designs, because you can create like. So one of the tanks that I made for the World War I scenario was I made a tank that was really long, like a really long triangle. So the armor was super duper sloped, obviously, with a triangle. So most of the incoming shots would bounce off. And then I put a gun turret on the front, just like sticking out of the front, and I had to move the whole tank to aim. But because it wasn't mounted in a turret and was instead mounted in what I think is called a Spalding mount, So it had a very minimal amount of movement. For the most part, you had to move the tank to aim. But that meant that I didn't have to worry about installing stuff for a turret and dealing with all that. So my gun was just like balanced and pointed forward the whole time. It was very erect. And because it was a small tank, it was fast. And the World War One tanks are very slow. But because it was a small tank, it was relatively fast. It could hit like a whole 12 miles an hour. And it was long, so it could get across the trenches. And that's eventually how I beat the first one, was making a tank that like really wouldn't work in real life. Like,
the long tank was long.
Yes, long tank was long. I think you would have had like your crew lay down inside the tank, and I don't think that would have worked very well. Who knows? Maybe they did it somewhere, and I just don't know that. But yeah, it was just a long triangle tank. I tried a few sort of using the World War One tank designs, and I did okay with those. And then trying to design my own sort of World War One-esque tank. I mean, I played around with some of the World War II tanks as well. Those scenarios are a lot more dynamic because one of them, for example, is like you're hunting other tanks. And so you have to design your tank and, take it and have however many allied, AI tanks you get and go hunt down a group of enemy tanks. It's like nighttime and stuff. But anyways, it's fine. It's got a very good concept. It's a good idea, applying this sort of design, sim, like design a tank, complete some challenges, do some fun stuff. It's got a good idea. It's got a good base for a system. It's got a good, their design engine is good. Like, whatever they're doing, it works really smoothly. No issues, no crashes, at least in the time that I played. But I mean, it just needs a lot of work to make it understandable to people playing. It needs more tooltips. It needs
It's
a
one
better
of those games that didn't get enough play testing from people that wasn't the designer.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. Everything's functional. It, as far as I can tell, works fine. Certainly would benefit from additional scenarios and equipment and stuff like that. But, those are all things that can be added in through development, through the development process. But what it really needs the most focus on is its UI and some helpful tooltips and some tutorials. I mean, it's $20. I was sort of convinced into an impulse buy. I have refunded it. I played for about an hour and I refunded it because I'm like, this game is still kind of half baked. And if they fix it, if they develop it further, I would buy into it again. But I get the feeling that this is going to sit in my, and that this would sit in my library for a long time and I might not come back to it, as opposed to something, other games where I have bought in and then come back and checked in on them a few times, like the original Train Fever and Factorio was like that. Kerbal Space Program was like that. Games where that I have came back, to check on them, 6-8 months later, and will do that multiple times until the game is completed development. Like, I just don't think that this is one of those. So I refunded it. And if it gets, like I said, if it gets much improved, I'd give it another shot. I think that the only people I could really recommend this to at this point is like someone who is a diehard, like, tank and tank design enthusiast. Because if there's anything else like this on the market anywhere else, I've never seen it. Very unique in what it does and what it offers. It's just half-baked at this point. So, yeah, games we played. We did it. Now, sleep. No, I'm kidding.
How about a game that Phil Spencer doesn't want to play?
Right. Right. There you go. So yeah, Phil Spencer. Oh God, no, go away. So I got a cookie pop-up thing. I haven't seen one of those in a while. But anyways, yeah, Phil Spencer says some NFT games feel more exploitative than about entertainment, which, no shit. I mean, we talked about this a 3 weeks ago when we discussed NFTs, and I gave like a hardcore crash course on like blockchain technology, Like, absolutely. I don't see a way that this could be done without it being exploitative by the companies that are going to do it. What I really hope this isn't is Phil Spencer being like, yeah, that's really scummy. And then like he turns around and he does it with Microsoft in a year or whatever. I mean, we've had this kind of this conversation before. Like, Microsoft is still like, an international corporation, worth billions and billions of dollars, and inherently is kind of scummy. But, in the games sphere, Xbox is, pretty all right. Microsoft is pretty all right. So,
all things considered.
Yeah, all things considered, Microsoft in this field, not that bad. So, I mean, and Phil Spencer has made comments about stuff like this before and hasn't done them. I hope this is just kind of an observation that grabbed a few headlines, sort of a little bit of publicity, like, yeah, that's kind of scummy. And people are like, yes, Microsoft, it is. Thank you. Good job. That's what I'm hoping it is.
Yeah, sorry. I was seeing some late breaking news. It's Activision, so, right. Activision forms Workplace Responsibility Committee, does not remove Bobby Kotick as CEO.
Of course they don't. Of course.
Speaking of scummy things, right?
Yeah, worse than an apology.jpg is forming another committee that's not going to do anything.
So moving swiftly on? I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, the apology.jpg is not the next one.
I mean, this one is kind of just a lot of, nod and agree, but at the same time, I do also agree with you, is that, okay, well, actions speak louder than words. Don't do this, right?
Yeah.
Or, what would really put a damper on this? Saying that Xbox isn't going to support any studio that does this, right?
Yeah, that would be good. That would be meaningful. I don't think we're going to see that. Seems unlikely. But I could be wrong. I have been wrong before.
I mean, we could dream, right?
Yes, a boy can dream. Okay. Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, I figured that one would be a short one and just, kind of nod and say this, right?
Yeah.
So, Warner Brothers has created their own free-to-play Smash Brothers clone.
Woo. I mean, I guess
this seems to be the thing now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is this swiftly becoming a thing now that Smash Brothers... I'm not sure why it's a thing now, because Smash Brothers has been a thing for a long time. Could it just be, because of all the hype from the last few major DLC characters?
Perhaps.
Or just how crazy things went with Smash Brothers Ultimate?
Perhaps. I mean, the zombies trend has been on the decline for a hot minute now. Maybe the character fighter? What is
I guess that would be or a crossover fighter. How about that?
Yeah.
Where it's a lot of characters under the same umbrella, but that don't interact with one another normally. A good example of this is the recent Nicktoons one, where it was like all the old school Nicktoons characters that mostly didn't interact. There was some crossovers back in the day, but for the most part, they were their own things. Well, they did a character fighter, and it was okay from everything I heard. The big downside of it is that they didn't have voice acting in it, which is weird for cartoons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even just reusing clips, right? Well, it could just be, one of those things that was, too much effort, or I don't know. But Warner Brothers is coming into things now, right?
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers has a stupid amount of characters that they could draw from. I mean, Space Jam is a good example of this, honestly.
Space Jam,
the latest one,
most of the DC universe.
Well, I was saying, no, that was pretty much the entire plot of the new Space Jam, based on a couple video essays I've watched about it.
Yeah.
uh, and them not being self-aware enough of them saying, yeah, this is bad, and then totally doing it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I mean, okay. So, could this be a good thing? Well, no, Warner Brothers is attached. But aside
Yeah.
from that, maybe.
I mean, first of all, it is free to play, so that is kind of a green and a red flag, because red flag, yeah, this is going to be highly exploitative on some sort of microtransaction, because it always is.
Right.
But it also, yeah, removes the $30 to $60 barrier of entry to try something. Because, yeah, Smash Brothers, I probably wanted to try it out if Anita didn't grab it, because, you know, I'm not huge into fighting games. Honestly, still not, but at the same time, it's, you know, she grabbed it to play, and, you know, I was able to play off the physical copy that she got, and, yeah, I had fun with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, so it could be good. It could be a good game.
And they also are bringing in the voice actors. So Kevin Conroy for Batman. Trying to find Maurice Williams, which is the modern, pretty much Looney Tunes voices for quite a few of them. Tom and Jerry. I mean, Steven Universe is in it. I mean, it's really diverse already, and you know, they've just announced it. Let alone the fact that they're going to add a lot more to it if it's popular.
Yeah.
And it's using the Smash Brothers model of there's not really hit points. It's essentially seems like as you deal damage, you get more and more knocked back until you're essentially knocked off the level. Or get some sort of critical hit.
Yeah.
I think my big problem with this is that it looks also sluggish. And I mentioned that to you before we started recording. And have you looked at the video?
Yeah, I've looked at the video.
I mean, some of it is obviously slowed down to show off a particular move, but even when they show the big fights, it does feel very slow.
That could be by design. And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone might disagree with me. Someone who has a lot more maybe experience playing these types of games in tournaments. Because Smash Brothers isn't the only one of these to exist, but I think
Brawlhalla is probably the other big one right now.
Yeah.
Or big.
But yeah. But, I don't know if necessarily it has to be fast to be good. I think that for the average player,
I think there has to be a certain pace to it.
There definitely has to be a certain pace to it, but if they get the balance right on how much damage it takes to be knocked off the stage and how the characters interact and what their movesets feel like, a slower pace could be good for the sort of average player who's not competing at a tournament, level. So,
well, it also depends on just how they have the different characters set up, so that it looks like they want to do more, essentially, supportive roles as well with some characters, which is not really a thing in Smash Brothers. I mean, there's some, but not that much. So, for one of the examples they give is Bugs Bunny. He could create a tunnel that allows characters to warp through the level. But that could also be really exploited for trolls, right? So that kind of has me a little leery of it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, it's one of those things that we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. It's just, I mean, that, that big WB on it, does not make me feel good about this game.
Especially after, like, Shadow of War, right?
Yeah.
But it also seems like they're being semi-self-aware with the whole Shaggy going Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
And some of the alternate costumes, like some of the Batman stuff they show, where it's alternate timelines or alternate future Batman, where he basically snapped.
Yeah,
the
Injustice timeline.
Yeah, kinda. Which, let's be honest, Batman, whole cave full of bitch be crazy, right?
Batman does have some issues that would be
issues
good to resolve in therapy.
uh, I think saying Batman has issues is like the understatement of the night.
Right. Well, there's still time. I might understate something else worse.
Uh, Such as, Rockstar's ineptitude. Oh wait,
Right. With the apology.jpg.
this was apology.blog post. So they're really sorry that they released a steaming pile of shit, and they promised to make it better. Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised that they released apology.jpg blog post .jpg/blog post please buy our stuff.
Yeah. Slash. Please stock prices stop falling.
Yeah. So the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the definitive edition,
Still a shitty name.
was pulled from sale, which we talked about last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned that it had been pulled. And it has returned for sale.
Yeah. Oh, only on the Rockstar launcher. And if you bought the Trilogy to the definitive shit show edition, you do get the original games for free. Yeah. Yeah, because you need something decent to play, right?
Yes. But so I can't. Yeah, this one is one that I've never understood this statement. I mean, it's a bullshit nonsense statement. I get that, but I've never, it boggles my mind. The whole
We'll make it
they issue an
better.
apology,
Yeah.
and they state that it didn't meet our own standards of quality.
If it didn't, they would have released it.
Yeah, if it didn't actually meet your standards of quality, you would not have released it. So it met your standards. The standards are very, 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 very low.
Or they figured that they wouldn't get this much backlash and would maybe fix it later.
Yeah.
So I want to read some of their blog posts because, right?
Okay, please do.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Nick entrance, right?
Yeah.
We want to provide an update regarding the unexpected technical issues that came to light as part of the launch of the Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. Unexpected, really? Right?
Yeah, did nobody look at this before it went out the door? I mean, I would believe if you said no,
I'm not
no
going
one
to throw
did.
their quality assurance out under the bus here. They knew. They just didn't care because, right?
Yeah.
Firstly, we want to sincerely apologize to everybody who has encountered issues playing these games. The Grand Theft Auto series and the games that make up this iconic trilogy are special to us as we know they are to the fans around the world. The updated version of these classic games did not launch in a state that meets our own standards of quality or the standards our fans have come to expect.
No, it met the standards that I've come to expect.
At least from modern Rockstar, right?
Yeah.
We have ongoing plans to address the technical issues and to improve each game going forward. With each planned update, the games will reach the level of quality that they deserve to be. Right.
Yeah.
A new title update is on the way in the coming days for all versions of Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, that will address a number of issues, and we will update everyone as soon as it's live. In the meantime, it pains us to mention that we are hearing reports of members of the development teams being harassed on social media. We would kindly ask our community to please maintain a respectful and civil discourse around this release as we work through these issues. While it's shitty that people are going after the developers, it's also right.
Yeah. A certain amount of going after them, I'm okay with. Like being
Death
like, "Hey, this
threats,
game is
no,
shit. Why did you do this?"
Right.
Don't do death threats. Don't threaten bodily harm against these people, their families, or their stuff.
But also saying, "Hey, this is shit," right?
Yeah, but telling them that their game is bad, I think that's okay.
And that they should feel bad, right?
And that they should feel bad. I think that's okay.
while one of the goals of the definitive edition was to make loads and loads of money for little effort. Oh wait, sorry, I errored there.
That's the subtext. You're reading the subtext. Go back up to the regular text.
Was to allow players to enjoy these games on modern platforms for many years to come. So we also understand some of you would still like to have the previous classic versions available for purchase. Was it really that hard to play the original versions on modern PC? I don't think it was.
No, I don't think so.
Modern consoles, maybe, because yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be adding the classic PC versions of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas back to the Rockstar store shortly as a bundle. Additionally, everybody who's purchased this steaming piece of shit on PC from the Rockstar store through June 30th, 2022 will receive these classic versions in the Rockstar Games Launcher at no additional cost. Right? It's
You know how I could get those games already at no additional cost?
Yarg!
Piracy.
And emulation, because I think all those are emulator pretty strong in emulation now. Now, I mean, it looks like it's pretty simple to run a PS2 emulator for San Andreas, and that's the most demanding of the three.
Yeah.
Although, if you want to play on console, you're utterly fucked because, yeah, right?
Now, this has got old copies and an old console.
Because that's the thing, is that they're not releasing this for the modern consoles. They're not releasing the Apology bundle for Switch or Xbox or PlayStation. You're stuck with the definitive edition.
Not yet. That's later.
Maybe somebody should. Here's an idea for a campaign. Shame I don't have the Twitter following to do it. I would love to have just people en masse send dictionaries with the definition of definitive highlighted to Rockstar.
Right.
That'd be hilarious, huh?
Very clearly not the definitive version, since it has content that's been removed and made worse.
Like the songs. I mean, that's the thing, is that they removed music that they themselves created. Because one of the songs was by a band, in-game or in-universe band. I mean, I understand that the artists themselves, they have to get paid royalties, most likely. But you're a rock star. You have shark card money. You have stupid amounts of money.
Right.
Or of someone outright refusing, you could get the music back in. And honestly, it's kind of the duel of who's the bigger dicks in this, the music industry or the gaming industry, because of the licensing going on between the two, huh?
Yeah. Although, why not both? Why can't both be the biggest asshole? Seems possible.
Oh. Yeah, so stay far away from this release, or really pretty much anything from Rockstar, but that's kind of beside the point.
Yeah. I feel like that's just the way things have to be. Just stay away from Rockstar.
Mm-hmm. Which pains me, because I really enjoyed, two of the three games back in the day. It seems like people have kind of lost their nostalgia for GTA 3. But it's rough, but at the same time, it's rough for a reason. It was the first of the 3D GTAs. And there was a lot of, growing pains with it.
Yeah.
Vice City was a fun romp, and San Andreas was a good, 90s gang, essentially movie. It's a shame that, it's in such a state. There's really no reason that they should have done that, but that's Rockstar for you.
Yep. That is Rockstar for you.
Well, not for me. Right.
Yeah. So, do you want to go talk about Games Award show?
Yeah, the first of the season, it seems, right?
First of the season.
Or I should say the first one that popped up. I mean, there could have been others because, right?
Yeah. But we're going to take a look at the 2021 Golden Joystick Awards.
Yeah, so I have links for both the nominees and the winners, and I guess we'll just take them in order of the winners and just kind of talk about each category.
Where's the list of winners on this article?
It's two of them. There's the nominations on the first link, and then the winners on the second.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking for the actual list of winners on the second article.
It's down below the bullshit in article ad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hate it when sites do that, but that's kind of par for the course these days, especially on gaming sites.
Yep.
So the first one I see is best storytelling, which a lot of these I think we're going to have some things to talk about, but for others I don't think a lot because so best storytelling is between Life is Strange: True Colors, Psychonauts 2, Walderbith, 12 Minutes, Chicory, A Colorful Tale, and Tales of Arise. I played a couple of these, and I know you played 12 Minutes.
Yeah, I played 12 Minutes. Was aware of Psychonauts 2.
I played Psychonauts 2. I played the demo for Chicory, A Colorful Tale when it was released as the Steam, one of the Steam India things.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a Zelda-esque, Zelda meets watercolors. I didn't realize it was fully released though. It was one of those where it has sort of the Zelda overarching story. World in peril, collect. It's on my wish list, but that could be from the demo. World in peril. You're the chosen one because reasons. Go do your thing, but only instead it's also world's been had all the color sucked out of it. Go color it.
Yeah.
So I mean, from everything I know about the developer, the winner of this one's no surprise, right?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by the winner. Life is Strange, True Colors makes sense. Life is Strange series, good. We have enjoyed what we have, played.
Yeah, we're still
series, but it's quite expanded now.
Yeah, two of them behind now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play Life is Strange 2 at some point. Probably for Game Club because right?
Yeah. So the next one, best multiplayer game. They had Deathloop, It Takes Two, Chivalry 2, Back for Blood, Valheim, and Naraka Blade Point.
I haven't played really any of these.
The only one on the list I have played is Valheim.
Yeah, I've heard Deathloop is very polarizing. It uses kind of the Watch Dogs slash Dark Souls invasion mechanic, which doesn't really ring multiplayer to me. I mean, I know technically it is, but at the same time, when I think multiplayer, I think either dedicated co-op or dedicated comparative. Not sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, right?
Yeah.
And Back for Blood would be more for that. The winner, from once again everything I heard, It Takes Two, kind of hammers home a little bit of its morals a little heavily at times, but it's supposedly a very good multiplayer, cooperative multiplayer experience.
Yeah, cooperative multiplayer adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Valheim. Having played Valheim, I talked about it much earlier in the year. Viking survival crafting game is fun. I don't know. Apparently, they've added a bunch of stuff since I played last time, and I don't know if they've improved the performance of the game, but I mean, it was a good time. I'm surprised it didn't win. I felt like it had a huge sort of spotlight in the sun. But who knows?
Could just be, it's one of those things, one of the indie darlings that kind of flies under the radar.
Yeah, perhaps. All right, next.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, you could go for it.
okay, best visual design. The nominees were Ratchet and Clank.
Audio.
Or
Audio's next up on the.
oh, sorry. I'm looking at the list. I apologize. At the list of the nominees, not the list of the winners.
That's why I was wanting to say go for the winner list because it's
Where the fuck is the audio on here? There it is. Best audio: Returnal, Jet: The Far Shore, Sable, Little Nightmares 2, Resident Evil Village, and The Artful Escape.
Which hadn't played any of them.
I haven't played any of them. I watched a few things about Resident Evil Village earlier in the year.
Giant stompy lady, right?
Yeah, big stompy lady. But I don't know. The audio for Resident Evil Village was good. I mean, it won, so I guess I could see why it won. It was very atmospheric, very creepy, scary. It did what it was supposed to.
Okay, so I'll take Best Visual Design, which is up next. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Psychonauts 2, The Artful Escape, Little Nightmares 2, Hitman 3, and Genesis Noir.
Okay.
Some real tough ones in there, actually, huh? Because I hadn't actually played Artful Escape, but I've looked at it a bit when it came up in Discovery Queue.
Yeah.
It has kind of this psychedelic theme going to it. And Psychonauts 2 has it in spades, just, the visual design. I'm a little disappointed in this winner, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It just looks kind of like a Ratchet and Clank game to me.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I thought looked really good. I mean, it does look like a Ratchet and Clank game, but I don't know. I always liked that aesthetic.
Yeah, but you've also haven't played through Psychonauts 2.
No, I haven't.
And Artful Escape, I feel like, is up there. Hitman 3, meh, right? Little Nightmares, I haven't actually played. I'm looking at screenshots of it, though, and it definitely has, that theme to it. So I would put it above it as well.
I feel like Valheim could have gone on here, too. Like, Valheim had a really interesting, minimalistic art style that made it very, very beautiful.
Yeah, Genesis Noir, once again, it has kind of the minimalist feel to it. So it might be, that slot for, artistic minimalist game here, right?
Yeah.
So, although it's not just in 2D like a lot of these are, I'm just looking at the trailer for it. It's actually quite impressive. It has kind of this line art look to it, but it's in full 3D, proper 3D, I should say.
Yeah.
That's actually really hard to do based on some of the trailer. Yeah, actually really impressive looking. But let's just give it to a big name title. So best game expansion is next.
Yeah, best game expansion. Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Episode Intermission, that's a mouthful. The Outer Worlds, Murder on Eridanos, Sims 4 Cottage Living, Super Mario Bowser's Fury, and Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods, Part 2. I mean, the winner was Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't played any of these expansions, nor have I played maybe any of the base games. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't. Well, I played the Outer Worlds.
Yeah, I was about to say, wait a minute, right?
But I haven't played any of the other games on that list, so I don't know if it deserved it. I shrugged.
Right.
Yep.
So, mobile game of the year.
Yep.
Clap Hans Golf, Fantasian, Overboard, Albia, a Wildlife Adventure, which I think that one was on Switch as well. Cozy Grove, and League of Legends Wild Rift. Right?
Sweet.
So, League of Legends won, because of course, right?
Because of course.
I mean, honestly, it just looks like League of Legends only mobile, which really, you know, kind of surprised that wasn't a thing already. Thinking about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was some League of Legends like mobile stuff, but to see it, you know, like a full blown League of Legends mobile game,
Mm-hmm.
can't believe that didn't exist already.
Yeah, it looks like Claphams Golf is iOS only, so that would explain why I never heard of that one.
Yeah,
Pretty sure Albion. I'm seeing what that is. Yeah, that was also on Switch. I saw that pop up a couple times when I was looking at games on there. It's kind of it, you're going to laugh at me for the comparison, but kind of a mixture of the Stardew Valley esque, or Animal Crossing, kind of life sim meets Pokemon Snap, where you're trying to save this town by taking photos of endangered rare animals that just inhabit the world to try to prevent big evil corporation from taking over the land and uh, building a new shopping center, because of course, right?
right. Katie just walked in here. Give me a second.
Yeah, I was trying to continue talking.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were buying me time. I'm gonna mute myself. All right, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back. It looks like Overboard is pretty much your choose your own adventure kind of. Sorry, a murder has been committed aboard the SS Hook, 8 hours out from New York. One problem: you did it. Can you get away with murder? So it's a reverse murder mystery where you're trying to prevent yourself from being uh, well, found guilty of murder. Interesting. Although a touch expensive for a mobile game, almost $7. You start to get into the realm of ported AAA titles at that range.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I would rather pay a few. I would rather pay $5 plus or minus a little bit to get a good actual game on a mobile device, as opposed to shitty games chock full of ads that you can pay $2.99 to get rid of the ads.
Mm-hmm. The problem is that often you have trouble finding the games that are worth it at this price range versus the ones that are just kind of good enough versus actually good ones, right?
Yeah. What I do when I'm trying to find mobile games is I'll play a mobile game that's full of shitty ads and like just download all of the games that pop up in the ads and then try those out and like sort of keep following the chain until I find one that's worth playing.
Hmm.
Because finding guides to like good mobile games can be hard to do too. And at least in my experience, Google, the Play Store, they do a shitty job of actually recommending good games.
Or you'll have a game that is like 5 stars, and all the top reviews are don't play this because of blank, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah, there's
anyways.
a Touch Arcade actually has a decent site that uh, does reviews.
Uh-huh.
And what was the other one? Pocket Tactics is another one I've been told is pretty good. That read every so often on there. Although they cover some Nintendo stuff as well, because right,
Yeah.
that's technically mobile.
Technically, which I am okay with.
Like they have an article on here: best Switch card games. The Ruin King, a League of Legends story Switch review. Some Pokemon stuff because that just released, and have guides from the biggest mobile gaming ones on here. Genshin Impact, of course, Mythic Heroes. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. The next one is best indie game. So
I see best gaming hardware.
Oh, did I skip that one by accident? Oops. Best gaming hardware.
Don't worry, most people are. So best gaming hardware. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080, because right, Nintendo hardware, or Nintendo Switch OLED, or W Black SN 8050.
Hang on. Why the hell did they put an SSD on here?
I don't know.
Is that what that is? Western Digital Black SN850.
It's an M.2 SSD.
Okay, sure.
Uh, Better yet, why the hell does PC have a SSD and a video card that nobody can fucking find and not the actual platform?
Yeah.
Right?
Who knows? That's really weird. I mean, they gave it to PS5 and like, sure, I guess. Sure. I mean, technically, since you can't find an RTX 3080, and even if you do find it, you probably can't afford it because it's being scalped all to hell. You know, sure, I'll give him that one. But otherwise, it's just no contest on what should win that. But I get it. You have to be able to find the hardware in order for it to be the best.
It's
Right.
just weird, huh?
Yeah, the NVMe or the SSD was the weirdest one for me, though. Sure, I guess. I mean, SSDs are cool.
So, best indie game.
Yeah.
Death's Door, Checkery, A Colorful Tale, Old World, Wonder Myth, Bonfire Peaks, and Sable.
I haven't played any of these games.
I haven't even heard of most of them, to be honest. Am I that out of touch? No, wait, it's the children that are wrong.
The children that are wrong.
So, Death's Door won it, and it looks like it's an ARPG beat 'em up.
Sure. Works for me. Studio of the Year.
Looks like... sorry, I'm trying to figure out... Okay, it looks like it is on Steam, so... it's on my wish list, but that doesn't really mean much, right?
Yeah.
I think this was the Boss Rush game that popped up in Discovery Queue a while back. Or one of them. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So, Studio of the Year. Or
yes,
more like
least
shitty studio, right? Oh,
yeah.
wait.
Yeah. So, IO Interactive, Arcane, Housemark, Double Fine, Capcom, and Dracneck and Friends. I had never heard of that studio. What is Dracneck and Friends? To the Google.
Oracle.
Lovingly crafted puzzle game since 2013.
Mobile game.
They made Bonfire Peaks most recently. Monster Expedition, Sokobond, Cosmic Express. Oh, Cosmic Express. Okay. That's one I recognize. A Good Snowman. It's hard to build. I've seen that. I haven't played it, but I've seen it. Cool. All right. I was aware of some of their games. Didn't realize who they were, but I was aware of them. Yeah, Capcom won because reasons.
I mean, Capcom, really? Considering everything that's gone on with them lately?
Yeah. Right. Housemark did Returnal this year. Okay. What other games have they made? Returnal, Nex Machina, Matterfall, Alienation, Resogun. Okay. Outland. Quite a few games. Super Stardust, which I've never heard of. Dead Nation. Golf. Tee It Up. All the way back in 2008. What's their oldest game? Stardust. 1993 on the Amiga. So this is an old studio that I just don't know all that much about. All right. Anyways, I don't have anything else to say except why.
Yeah. It's just it feels like picking Studio of the Year this time is kind of the least stinky turd, but then you pick Capcom because, right?
Yeah.
So, best performer. Jason Keeley, Cole Vanden, Deathloop, Erica Moley, Alex Chin, Life is Strange, True Colors, Maggie Robertson, Big Stompy Lady, Resident Evil Village, Osmondia Akavia, Julia LeBlanc, Deathloop, Jennifer Hale, Rivet in Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart, and Elijah Wood as spoiler face in Psychonauts 2. They actually give a pretty big spoiler there.
Yeah.
Big Stompy Vampire Lady wins because, right?
Right. I mean, from what I saw, her voice performance was fine, but I mean, let's be real
Yeah,
here.
but
She won because she's the big, sexy, stompy lady.
yeah, and she's also was kind of the face for. Uh, she was the boss of Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't really play that huge a role in the game,
No.
but they push her forward because, right?
Yeah, because she's sexy
And has a very charismatic voice actor.
and
Or actress.
huge tracts of land.
Especially because she's a giant.
That helps. Yeah. Right. The next one is called the Breakthrough Award. I'm looking for that on this list. I must have scrolled past it.
I'm not finding it. So there was a couple that was voter only, so that might be one of them.
Gotcha.
So basically, people nominated and voted.
Okay.
So the Breakthrough Award was House Marquee.
Yeah.
that's
Which is
beautiful.
a developer. They're a game developer.
Nocturnal is their, or sorry, Returnal.
Returnal.
Is their big one. Which I'm not hugely from PlayStation exclusive. That would explain it, right?
I heard it. I heard good things about it, aside from the fact that its save system was like terrible.
What was bad about it?
It was so it's a like roguelite, sort of run game, where you do runs and yada yada, that whole jazz.
And overarching progression, blah blah blah, right?
Right, but there was no way mid-run.
Oh, was this the one that was each run was like 6 hours or something?
Yeah, and there was no way to save mid-run. So people would just like pause and leave their PlayStations on and go do stuff and come back to play later because there was no way to like save it mid-run. And sometimes your auto saves could get corrupted or, like there was no way to control them. So yeah, its save system was broken.
Yeah, and it looks like they only added in mid-save or mid-run saving a month ago. And I have a feeling Returnal's been out for a lot longer than that.
Oh, yeah. It came out near the beginning of the year, like first quarter of this year.
April 30th. So, yeah, I mean, there was the Gladiator game, the indie game that where you were managing a house of gladiators that was very bad about its save system as well. What is it with save systems that people think that the game's only a few hours long a run? They don't need saving, right?
Right. But even I, don't always sit for hours at a time to have a gaming session. It depends on what's going on, But okay, so the next one is the best game community. So they have nominees: Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky, Dreams, Monster Hunter Rise, Destiny 2, and Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering on there, really?
Yep, Magic the Gathering Arena.
Considering Magic the Gathering, right?
I think No Man's Sky is a pretty good community online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know about much of the rest of them.
Well,
I know what Monster Hunter Rise is.
Won.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 won. I don't know anything about that community either.
I mean, Final Fantasy 14, it's one of the more popular and less broken MMOs nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I think people have kind of rallied around it, especially after a new world kind of shat itself on launch.
Yeah. Blew off both of its feet and then tried to waddle around on the stumps.
Just shitting itself the entire time.
Right.
World of Warcraft has kind of gone downhill. pretty much anytime I hear anything about the lore of it, it's just really they're doing
Yeah.
that now. I think World of Warcraft they kind of spent their load in the Burning Crusade. They got rid of all the major plot characters in one expansion and left nothing for the later on, right?
Yeah. All right.
So the Still Playing Award. So this one's actually a longer one. Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, Final Fantasy XIV, Destiny 2, GTA Online, Genshin Impact, Fortnite, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Yep. The
I can see
winner.
really any of those, to be honest.
Yeah, they all have large communities that people are still playing, and most of them have an esports scene to help. The winner was Final Fantasy XIV, which I think is nice. Final Fantasy
like I
XIV,
said,
they rebuilt that game from scratch after it was a flop on launch.
hell,
And it's
they went full Cataclysm on it and had a dragon destroy the world and worked into the lore, didn't they?
Yeah, they did that.
Which it's kind of interesting that they actually wrote in a relaunch of the game into the game's lore, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, that was he gone. Sorry. Next, PC Game of the Year. Maybe I'll have heard of the games in this category.
I don't count on it.
All right, we've got Wildermyth, Chivalry 2, Old World, Hitman 3, Pathfinder, and The Forgotten City.
Barbie wonders why the hell have I not heard of Old World before this?
I think I've heard of Old World. I feel like I have.
It's down on your wish list.
Oh, well, then maybe I haven't.
It's another one of the Civ-likes out there.
Oh.
I mean, very Civ-like. Oh, with a little bit of Crusader Kings in it as well.
Fancy.
Where there's some sort of inheritance mechanic going on. I'm not 100% sure what they're going on, what's going on with it, because, just found it. But it looks like as you progress on, it has a Crusader Kings-esque progression of your character, maybe? Marry for politics, raise your hairs, manage your relationship with families in your kingdom. In the Fast and Furious world of kings and queens, families matters. Each of the 7 kingdoms has formidable families that provide various benefits. I mean, I'm surprised that we haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even out. That's why. Why the hell is it? Why the hell is it on this list?
Is it an early access thing?
No, it's not even out on Steam unless it's Epic only, which that could be, and that could be why I hadn't heard about it.
Could be.
It looks like it's Epic only for now. That would explain why I haven't heard about it. The beta for the game is still active.
Yeah.
That would explain why I hadn't heard about it, because, right? And Epic's store discovery sucks.
Yeah. Is it just Old World? Here it is, Old World. $35.99 on the Epic Store.
Yeah, so see you next year, right?
Yeah. It looks pretty neat, though.
Yeah, so what actually won this category? Oh, yeah, Hitman.
Hitman 3.
Because of course it did.
Yeah. Because reasons.
Because marketing. Honestly, well, The Forgotten City is an interesting one. Even though it has all sorts of controversy around its release because some of the stuff going on.
Yeah.
Having such a story-heavy game with extremely limited combat. I don't think there's actually any combat in it. It's intriguing. The fact that that didn't get more of a nod, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, everything seems more interesting than Hitman 3.
That is true. Very true.
But to be fair, they also have one that's not even released yet.
Yeah.
So, Nintendo Game of the Year. The new Pokemon Snap. Neo, The World Ends With You. Monster Hunter Rise. Bravely Default 2. WarioWare get it together in Metroid Dread.
Yep.
I
And the
mean,
winner is
yeah.
Metroid Dread.
I mean, honestly, all of them are pretty solid picks for various reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the Pokemans might have ran away with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also more of a niche title, though, because that's
Yeah.
the Pokemon Snap. That's the photography one. Well, it's essentially a first-person shooter, technically.
When you're shooting photos.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Metroid Dread, it had a lot of good reviews, and it was the first 2D Metroid in ages. So, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's really hard to argue with any of these. I've heard a lot of good things about the new Monster Hunter. Bravely Default, I'm not as familiar with. But JRPG, if I recall correctly. WarioWare is kind of like always this black sheep for Nintendo. It sells really well, but it never seems to really get a lot of recognition. It's the biker games, a few hundred biker games that you play in quick succession with a bit of a story tying it all together.
Yeah.
And this one is the one that has all the characters in it that interact differently with each of the games, so it kind of adds different modifiers. So really strong pulls for any of them, but I definitely see Metroid Dread.
Yeah, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Xbox Game of the Year. So we've got Lost Judgment, The Ascent, Psychonauts 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator, The Artful Escape, and 12 Minutes.
I mean, really? Microsoft Flight Sim? I know it's on there, but at the same time, right?
Yeah. Also, Microsoft Flight Sim released last year.
Well, I think it had its console release this year.
Ah, okay.
I could be mistaken on that one, though.
I mean, the winner was Psychonauts 2, and based on the discussion that we've had, both when you played it and just here, a few minutes ago.
I would say probably the strongest one out of there, but then again, I'm not familiar with a couple of them. Mm-hmm. Lost Judgment looks interesting. It has a very Yakuza vibe to it. I'm not sure why. And I don't mean it because it's Asians. I mean, just some of the screenshots of it. It's from the Yakuza series. That would explain it. Right?
Nope, that checks out.
It looks like it's a side series of Yakuza, based on a quick Google search. So, hey, nailed that one, right?
Yeah. Yakuza.
I was afraid I was sounding slightly racist, saying, "Well, this feels like Yakuza because it's Asians." And The Ascent, it's the action RPG that there some talk about this being a bit if I recall correctly. So PlayStation Game of the Year. Do we even
do we even need to read the nominees?
Right.
Yeah, it's Resident Evil 8. Yeah, big stompy, sexy lady wins the day.
I mean, the other ones was Deathloop, which I've heard a lot of. Returnal, which Ratchet and Clank, meh. Death Stranding,
director's cut.
Yeah. So does that mean they circumcised the man baby thing?
Right.
And Kenya, Bridge of Spirits, which that's the only one that hasn't popped up before.
Let's see what this is. Kena, Bridge of Spirits.
Looks like action RPG or JRPG.
Yeah.
Looks interesting. But once again, it looks like it says it's on Windows, but where? Oh, Epic Store. That would explain it. That would explain why I haven't heard about this one.
Yep.
Because I stay fucking far away from that place.
So next we got Most Wanted Game. That's another long list.
Mm-hmm.
God of War Ragnarok. Horizon Forbidden West. That's the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Halo Infinite. Marvel's Midnight Suns. GTA 5 Enhanced Edition.
Right.
Skate 4, Elden Ring, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Can't believe they're still making Lego Star Wars games. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Well, they're going to milk that franchise to death.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about both Star Wars and Lego. Because, the Skywalker saga, everything I've heard, it's just, it's like worse and worse.
Yeah. But Breath of the Wild 2, Pokemon's Legends Arceus, Starfield, and Gotham Knights.
I don't know why anybody would put Starfield on their list because, it's Bethesda, right?
Right. I mean, it'll come out eventually.
Or where,
probably.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be out this year, so. Or this coming year.
It'll be over budget and undercooked.
Oh, I just said it's a Bethesda game. Do I need to say any more?
Touche. The winner was Elden Ring, which is the J.R.R. Tolkien written Dark Souls-like game. At least that's how it has been advertised when I've seen it.
I'm gonna wait and see on that one. If I had to pick on this one, I would have to go Legend of Zelda, but there's not a lot known about it just yet.
Yeah, not sure what I would have picked. I've seen a ton of stuff about Horizon Forbidden West recently. Halo Infinite, with their multiplayer beta thingy, has pushed themselves back up to the front of the zeitgeist. So I don't know.
Well, it could just be because I've been playing a bit of Breath of the Wild here and there as well lately. I was having trouble figuring out where to go next. And kind of the open nature of Breath of the Wild kind of shot me in the foot. I didn't trigger something. Because one of the towns that you have to go to for the main story, assuming that you're not speedrunning it and just skipping all the content, you trigger a cutscene on the road leading up to it, but I kind of used the paraglider to go from this giant tower down to it because the way that it's very Assassin's Creed in it, where you unlock the map by going to towers and climbing them, and essentially downloading the map to your totally not Nintendo Switch,
right?
And I just saw a town down there, and I just well, I'll go down there, and couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. Well, the character I was supposed to talk to get into it, I was supposed to be on the way to there. So, whoops, right?
Yeah. Whoopsie.
So, Critics' Choice Award. Was this even... this wasn't on there. I'm pretty sure that's one that was voted on. So, it was Deathloop. It's, right? I mean, everything I heard about Deathloop, it's kind of meh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've heard mixed things about Deathloop. Not that it's, like, horrendous or anything, but certainly nothing
it doesn't do
great.
It doesn't do anything interesting with its mechanics.
Yeah. So.
And it's also one of those games that it tries to promise itself being a lot more open than what it is, and there's a definite right answer to the game's overarching puzzle of how to beat it. And if you don't do exactly what they want you to do, you're not going to beat it because, right?
Yeah. So
Ultimate Game of the Year. So this is what this is a long list. So hang on. So Deathloop, Psychonauts 2, Resident Evil Big Stompy Lady Edition, Ratchet and Clank, Wonder Myth, Hitman the Trace, The Forgotten City, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, and Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition.
I mean, I would have voted for Mass Effect, but I'm heavily biased.
Yeah, you're so biased that I'm surprised that you're not a judge in Wisconsin.
Oh, hi-oh. Hardcore social cutting, biting commentary on the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Fucking bastard needs to be in jail right now.
Uh-oh. Dawson's Franken content coming up.
Nah, I'm too tired to rant. But yeah.
Utter shit show.
Utter shit show.
Might as well have been produced by EA.
Yep. Yep. It feels like the same level of competence.
So it should surprise nobody that Big Stompy Lady edition of Resident Evil 1, because of course it did.
Of course.
I think it was the most winning game on this list, actually. I mean, it won the most times, but right?
Yeah. All right. Next, the ultimate hardware of all time.
This one didn't have a list, I don't think, but I mean, we don't need a list because the glorious PC gaming master race wins in the end.
Absolutely. We always win in the end.
I mean, on this one feels a bit more. Am I crazy that I would go historical and go like, some of the Sega arcade cabinets or that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Things that would that had a more historical significance. Because yes, I know, all games are designed on PC.
Yeah.
But driven forward, arcade cabinets really were what it was at, in the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah, until home computing got
Strong
strong
caught
enough.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's right. I mean, I'm glad at PC, but at the same time, I'm thinking, there could have been other things, right? Or maybe I'm just doing more, putting more significance on what it could have been, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
And the final one is the ultimate game of all time.
Right, and I disagree.
It's the Dark Souls of game awards. I think Dark Souls, it has its place in being now the shortcut gaming journalism bullshit of this game is difficult.
Yeah. This game is difficult and complicated.
It doesn't explain itself very well at all. It's the Dark Souls of Dark Souls.
Yeah. I mean, Dark Souls is fine. I don't like it. It doesn't jive with me, but Dark Souls is fine. Most people seem really interested in Dark Souls and the Dark Souls franchise. But I'm just like, nah.
There is supposedly a very deep lore to it if you look into it, but the thing is that, right?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is that people have latched onto it because it might have been one of the first really mainstream ultra difficult games for the internet age, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because there were obviously very difficult games before, but it's one of those things that it's one of the ones that the real kind of zeitgeist of the internet got behind for whatever reason, right?
Yeah. Praising the sun. Those sweet, sweet memes about praising the sun.
Yeah. So much that there's an amiibo for it.
Praise the sun. Does it say praise the sun?
There's. Hey, I'm gonna link this to you.
Okay.
I'm just going to go.
Link me.
Well, hang on. I'm just going to go to Amazon because why not, right?
Yeah.
They'll try to sell it to me later. It's actually not as expensive as I thought it would be, but right.
Yeah.
Okay. Long link inbound.
Praise the sun. Beautiful. All right.
Maybe that's it. It's one of the first ultra difficult games that got so mainstream, though, right? Because before that, they were kind of marginalized because people would get frustrated with them.
Yeah. That was it. That was the last thing that was listed.
Or the other part may be just simply because it's such gaming journalism shorthand for difficult game that, it's the ultimate game of all time. It's the Dark Souls of Dark Souls.
Yeah. The Dark Souls of Dark Souls. We've come full circle. Full circle, people.
Yeah, so let's drop it off at Community Corner.
Indeed. So we got this from Ghosty Goo.
Ghosty Goober.
Streamlabs, Under Fire from... Oh, no, that's not the one I put in the show notes. I
put a secondary one as well.
Yeah, Streamlabs drops OBS from company name in response to recent controversy.
Oh, right.
Yep.
It's just...
Oh, go ahead.
Kind of a dick move, honestly. From everything I I understood, they're basically taking the open source software and trying to create market confusion with their paid software. Because, of course, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so they said, let's see, Wednesday. So I guess this was last Wednesday. Streamlabs issued a statement saying that they will drop the OBS from its name and that it takes full responsibility for its actions. Statement did not make reference to the accusation from Lightstream. But
yeah, which
yeah,
Lightstream posted a link to both their and OBS's sites, and they're eerily similar.
Yeah.
Which Lightstream is its own streaming studio browser plugin thingy. But they have the tweet here. Hey, can I copy your homework?
Yeah. Near the launch of Slobs, Streamlabs OBS, at Streamlabs reached out to us about using the OBS name. We kindly asked them to not. They did so anyways and followed up by filing a trademark.
So in other words, utter dicks.
Yeah, we tried to sort this out in private, and they have been uncooperative at every turn. I mean, you don't have to cooperate with someone who's in the wrong. Like, yeah. So, yeah, as someone who hasn't streamed in years, I'm just like, okay, they did something shitty, fuck them. Like, I've got no personal investment, though, in this situation. You know? Nothing to really drive any of my annoyance other than, like, well, they did a shitty thing. Now they're changing their name. They're going to hope that they get out of it.
Specifically asked not to do such a shitty thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Ghost posted this because he streams occasionally, and he's, talked about wanting to stream more. I suppose that this was just monumentally frustrating to him, which is okay. That is a fine and dandy reason to send us something in the mail.
Yeah, not 100% sure what to do with it, but we do appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
I think this is one of those that it's outside of our wheelhouse just enough because I only streamed a few times. And honestly, it kind of underbounded things because it screwed up things on other services. But that's background stuff. And you only stream occasionally, and usually it's when you're being an utter dick.
Right. All right. What else you got? You got anything else about that?
No, and that was all the community corner this time around. Sorry there was a lot of discussion on that one, but it's kind of... they were kind of dicks. So,
they were dicks. Yeah. They did a shitty thing.
Yeah.
Dickheads.
Yeah. Yeah, might as well put them in charge of Activision Blizzard, right?
Right. Collectively, let's all refer to them as dickheads.
No,
you dickheads.
As codics.
Right. Still a dickhead.
Like I said, a codic.
Bobby.
It even sounds like it, right? It even has that kind of dirty connotation to it, doesn't it?
It does. It does indeed. All right, so that brings us to the end of Community Corner.
Yeah, and if you send anything, you can do so vglpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet it to us, VGL Podcast, or drop by the Discord, which you can find a link to that over at vglpodcast.podbean.com.
Woo! I'm drifting pretty hardcore, struggling to stay focused, so I don't think I can
hopefully you're banking your skill points.
Right, I'm banking, yeah. I can only bank 10 at a time, I learned that, so...
Yeah.
Don't want to overbank.
Yeah, good thing it's not completely different from the previous one. Oh, wait.
Indeed. Hint, hint. Hint. Tease. But yeah, why don't...
tease never.
So, hey, Rage, why don't you hit him with them socials?
Well, I've been Caffeine Rage. You can find me tweeting occasionally at GamingOCR, or if you wish to be my friend on Steam, Caffeine Rage. And you've been?
Gaming Psychologist. You can find... Oh, shit. I hit my mic. You can't find that anywhere except right here. You can find me on the YouTubes by searching for such Gaming Psychologist. You can find me on Twitter at JMA4707, where I have posted things about Battletech and shit posts and things.
What about spicy memes?
I haven't done too many spicy memes here lately. I need to do some more spicy memes.
Oh,
I'm falling behind.
I'm going to have to send you some more spicy memes.
Please do. I love spicy memes. In fact, everyone send me spicy memes. But I lost my train of thought. Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. And I post shit on there. And then you can be friends with me on Discord if you join our Discord or on Steam. My thing is jarthur4707.
Woo!
Woo!
And once again, if you wish to contact us as the show, you can do so at vglpodcast@gmail.com with your letters, voicemails, game-related topics. Tweet them to us, VGL Podcast, or drop by the Discord, which you can find over at vglpodcast.podbean.com, as well as the RSS feed to share the love, the show notes for all the insanity that we've talked about, or at least most of it, and links to all our other stuff. Our lovely, lovely patrons have made this, utter insanity possible. You can find out more about that over at patreon.com/VGLpodcast. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kim McLeod. You can find his work over at Incompetech.com. And
as always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice, bye now.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.